Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Adigeko's channel. I am welcoming you today again with more The Elder Scrolls Legends. We are going to be talking about new cards that have been released with the Houses of Morrowind expansion, starting with Strength, and we are going through the things here, as you can see. One video for each attribute or color, if you would prefer, because I don't want these videos to be one huge video. It generally intimidates people. People don't really want to watch that many minutes. So we are going to start with Strength here, and we will move on and cover other attributes in other videos. Hopefully I will see you on them as well. Let's get to it then. We have Bushwhack, an action, zero cost action. A friendly creature ignores guards and can attack creatures in any lane this turn. Now this action is pretty good in my opinion, especially in market decks, it being a zero cost action and all, and it's allowing you to attack above the guards or into other lanes as well. It will be a huge help in perspective of removal or burst damage. And however, something I don't like about this card is reducing the importance of guards even further, and we are getting these kind of cards in every expansion that allows you to destroy guards or ignore guards, etc. like that. If this trend continues, we may need some cards that support guard cards, make them better. Of course, yeah, we are getting some cards that buff guards, etc. like that, but I am talking about more on the lines that something maybe prevents guards from getting, ignored, etc. like that, or some guard that cannot be ignored. I don't know, we'll see. Overall, I think I like this card. This card can see play, will it see play? It's not gonna be a staple in red decks, but it will see play in some of them. It is good enough for that at least. Let's move on to our next card, Ashlander Zealot, a dark elf that looks like a robot, steampunk robot thing with a mask. It's actually pretty sci-fi-ish for a fantasy game in my opinion, but whatever. It's a 1-cost 1/2 summon, battle an enemy creature. It has low power, low health, so in a battle this is not really a card you want to battle with, and it will destroy only one power creatures if you do not have something to buff its power immediately, like, I don't know, the support card, red support cards, or maybe even Hrothgar Forge or something like that. But I can see this card being played in Doomcrag Vampire decks a lot. It's basically another removal for you that you can use with a that you can use with a Doomcrag Vampire, and you can still use this on its own, but those situations probably will not arrive very frequently. And overall, I don't see this card seeing play in any other deck than, well, Doomcrag Vampire decks, maybe Hrothgar Forge decks and stuff like that. This can see play, but I don't think it will. But we'll see, I suppose. Let's move on to the next card. We have Corpus Disease. Silence a creature, then give it +2/+0. It's a 1-cost action. You can silence your own creature or silence an enemy creature, as the wording suggests. So this card can be used both ways. If you have an enemy that you would rather have silenced and you do not care about its power, but you care about its, abilities. For example, abilities to heal your opponent, or abilities to hit you for even more damage, like something like Sovereign of Revenge, or maybe an Alduin or something like that. But you know what, if you use this on an Alduin, you must be pretty desperate. However, you can use this on your own creatures to buff them for more damage if you do not care about their abilities anymore. For example, charge. You used the charge and you don't need it anymore. You can just silence your own creature and give it even more power to attack your opponent for greater damage. This is a versatile card. It can and probably will see play in some situations, but it is not as good as to be a staple in red decks, I don't think. Overall, this is above average, but not really that good of a card, I suppose. So we will move on to the Dagoth Dagger, an item, 1-cost item that gives your creature breakthrough +2 and +1 to its power and its health. This is basically an improvised weapon that gives 1 more power for 1 more mana. I mean, that's what it is. Is it good? It's okay. I mean, I would rather play like an improvised weapon because it's 0 cost and it basically accomplishes the breakthrough task, and the main reason you would play this card would be the breakthrough task, I think. And +2 may be useful. That +1 attribute, +1 power could be useful, but this card is just okay. It's an average item, not too strong, not too weak. So will it see play? Sure, why not? But I would rather play a Steel Scimitar or an improvised weapon, as I said. Both of them, I think, are better than the Dagoth Dagger, actually. But I guess we'll see if time proves me wrong here. And we are moving on to Sarethi Scion, 1-cost 1/1 creature with rally effect, and that's it. Rally means that when this card attacks, you get +1/+1 to a random creature in your hand. And I can see this card being very useful. 1-cost 1/1 isn't that good of a stats, but if you can attack with this creature, it becomes 1-cost 2/2 basically, which is an okay trade to make. But if you can continue to attack with this creature over and over and over and over again, it will help you grow your hand even faster and to a greater extent. So maybe in a rally deck or something like that, this card can be useful. Other than that, I don't see this seeing play in red decks too much, but it's not a bad card. It's below average though, if you're not playing this in specific situations that would benefit you. Yeah, pretty much. So we have Fighters Guild Hall, a 2-cost support. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. When a friendly creature takes damage on your turn, give it +2/+0. So this can be very effective with the Pyromancer, or maybe even something like Firestorm if your creatures survive, Ice Storm if your creatures survive. This will basically give your creatures even more power when you damage them on your turn, and it will make it basically trades their health for more power, and this can be unexpected burst damage, as well as if you are playing this on board, like imagine 3 of these on board and you are just playing a Pyromancer. Even if you have 1 creature, you are just giving it a +6. That is nothing to scoff at, you know. And this card can be very strong, but you need decks that are specifically designed for this, in my opinion. You cannot just expect this to work in any red deck that you want to play it. And you need to have cards that revolve around this, but other than that, this is an interesting card. I would like this to see play, and I think there will be some decks that are made around this, and I would like to see them being played as well, and I think I may even make some of those myself, but we'll see how the future meta develops as we go. We have next Ornery Kaguti, a 2-cost 3/2 breakthrough. It's an okay card. I wouldn't laugh at you for putting this in your deck, but why would you though? I mean, if you need a 2-cost card, why don't you put a Prophecy Orc or something like that? But still, you can put this. It's not bad, but there are better cards. Pretty much that. It's pretty vanilla. Nothing really to talk about. We have a Dagoth Oathman, a 3-cost 3/3 with summon ability. If you have an agility card in play, it gets +1/+1. If you have an intelligence card in play, it gets +1/+1. So this is a card that you are supposed to be playing with the House Dagoth, and that's about it. So if you're playing this outside of the House Dagoth in an Archer and a Battle Mage deck, you're just playing a 3-cost 4/4, potentially, that is, and it's not bad, but it's not really good either. I mean, there are cards, 3-cost cards, that are better than this. Instead of this, you can play them. And this card will probably see play in Dagoth decks and nowhere else, basically. That's the nature of it. We have next Hlalu Sharpshooter. It is a plot card, so you need to play this after you play a card to activate its effect. It's a 3-cost 2/3 with plot effect. Silence a creature, then deal 1 damage to it. This is basically an Earthbound Spinner, right? It silences and deals 1 damage to a creature, but the gist of it is that you have to play something before this. So if you have to choose between this and the Earthbound Spinner, I would say that you should choose the Earthbound Spinner, because even though it is 4-cost, it doesn't require you to play a card before it, and and it has actually higher power, even though it has lower health. Power is kind of more important in this game. And Hlalu Sharpshooter here, requires you to play a card before playing it, and unless it's a 0 or 1 cost card that you drew and that means you got lucky, you're going to be playing this card on like turn 5, and it actually forces you to play a card before this if you want to activate its effects, and it might be a card that you do not want to play yet. You know, you may want to keep that card for something in the future, but you just have to activate the Lalu Sharpshooter's effect, so you have to play that card, which is overall makes the Earthbound Spinner the better choice, I think. Is this a bad card then? Not really. It's okay again. I mean, it will see play in a lot of decks, but there is Earthbound Spinner that is definitely better than this card in my opinion, and you should just play that. But if you can fit them both, sure, why not? Next we have Lower Canton Smith. Another plot card, 3 cost 2/2, equip a friendly creature with a +2/+2 steel scimitar. Now, its effect is not bad. Not bad at all, but the fact that you have to play a card before this card actually makes this card a little worse. If it was just the summon effect, it would be much better. I don't have to tell you this, but yeah. But however, the card you played before this could be a creature on an empty board. In that case, playing this card after that is the right choice to do, so you can buff it even further. Is this a bad card? No. It's above average, I think, and it will see play in a lot of red decks, I think, but it's not that good of a card either, you know. It's an okay card that will see play maybe in some definite, if there is such a thing as a plot deck, if it happens, this card definitely will see play in that, and I can see this seeing play in some red decks as well, but other than that, it's just an above average card. It's forcing you to play a card before this, really lowers their value, I think, the plot effect. But we will see, I suppose. Redoran Battle Spear. It's 1/3. It's an item that gives your creatures +1/+3 for 3 cost. You may think that is pretty bad for its cost, but I disagree actually because of its effect. And I would like to show you something I realized. We have this card with Charge Rally, right? It's Aldrun's Arms Master, and look at here. He's using the Redoran Spear. So what I'm getting at here is that you can use this on charge cards, right? And I think it's the primary purpose of this card, to use this card on something that can immediately attack on that turn. It's not maybe necessarily a charge card, but a creature with the ability to attack. So you do not want to put this on a creature that cannot attack and make that into a target, but rather than just play this and attack with it immediately. So you can play this with Aldrun Arms Dealer, because he has also the Redoran Spear in his hand, and you can, with the rally effect, give the creatures in your hand a total of +2/+2, which is, I think, pretty okay, pretty good. If you play this card right, I think with its effect, it's worth its cost. I like this card. I like the concept of it. And will it see play in rally decks? Definitely it will see play. Adigeko, what are rally decks? I don't know. I am speculating here, but I expect to see some rally decks in this expansion. We'll see. We will see. And let's move on to Aldrin's Armsmaster. I covered it a little, but it's basically a charge rally for 4 cost, 2, 3. So if this was a card with just charge, and if it was 3 cost, a 3 cost 2/3 charge would be acceptable, right? But with the rally effect, giving it 1 more cost, I think it's still acceptable, which makes this card an okay card. It's an average card. Will it see play? Sure. Will it see a lot of play? I don't think so. It's an okay card. That's about it. We have next Ash Berserker. I really don't like this card. At the end of your turn, if you have a creature with 5 power or more, draw a card. A 4 cost, 4/5. It's pretty disgusting. He doesn't have eyes. He has bloody holes instead of them, but whatever. It's not the point of this. We have here another way to draw cards for aggressive decks, which is something I wouldn't like to see, because what makes aggressive decks risky to play is that they tend to run out of cards quicker than other ones, and if you give them more abilities to run out of draw cards, then you are allowing them to become even stronger than they are, and that's not something I would like to see. But this is the direction it seems that this expansion is taking the game to, so I am expecting to see a lot more aggressive decks on this meta, which I am not pleased with. I don't enjoy playing against aggressive decks. I want like tactical games that draw out. But is it a bad card? No, it's a good card. I think this card will see play in a lot of red decks, if not all of them. But that's exactly why I don't like it. Especially since it is so easy to buff this card, that this card will count itself as a 5 power or more and definitely draw a card for your opponent or for you. It's pretty disgusting. Yeah, I don't like this card, but it is an amazing card, I think. So next we have False Incarnate. 4 cost, 5/4, good stats for its cost. Your opponent can't gain health. Here we go again. This makes aggressive decks even stronger. I mean, as an aggressive deck, you have 2 problems. You run out of cards and your opponent can heal. And the past 2 cards, including this one, just eliminates those problems. So I expect to see this card a lot in red decks as well, especially in aggressive ones. I really don't like the direction that these 2 cards are taking the game to, but I guess it happens, you know. Even though it doesn't matter if I like it or not, it's just gonna happen. But as I said, this is a good card. I think it will see play in a lot of red decks, if not in all of them. And control decks are going to have a really hard time on this meta. Let's move on to Fighters Guild Steward. It's a 4 cost 3/3 summon a friendly creature with 5 or more power, battles an enemy creature. So this is another battle card. I like battle cards, even though I talked about the other battle card not pretty highly, but it was pretty bad. I like battle cards. This is a second-hand battle card, let's put it that way. It allows you to battle another creature instead of this. Is it a good card? It is for the purpose of maybe removal. And you can attack with your 5-cost creature first, and it survives. 5-power creature, and then you play this card and it can attack again, basically. And it's a good card that focuses on control more than being aggressive. And I can see this card seeing play, but not a lot, honestly, because battle cards tend to not see play, and for its cost, its stats are not very good. So it's not a bad card, I think. It might even be above average, but it will not see play because battle cards are not really a favorite in this game. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this card. It is a Nord though, so you can summon this, draw this with, Ulfric, if that's a thing you do. We have Imposter's Mission, an action, 4-cost action. Summon an imposter with power and health equal to the power of your most powerful creature. That's a lot of powers in one sentence. And this card is pretty good. Imagine copying something like a Parthenax, right? It doesn't copy its effect, but even if it's just its power, it's more than enough, I think. An Alduin, a 12/12 something, that is pretty insane. The copy of the most powerful creature you play is pretty great, in my opinion. Is it like game-breaking, meta-breaking card? I don't think so, because we have some pretty strong removals in this game. You can just kill that card, but it will still be a removal sponge for you, and it will make more problems, more cards that you need to destroy on board. So is this card going to see play? Definitely going to see play, but I don't think it will see too much play. Let's put it that way. It's definitely not gonna be a staple or even a frequently used card in red decks, but I can see this card seeing play. It's not going to be a forgotten card. I think it's still above average in value. Let's move on to Kamona Tong Heavy, a 5-cost 4/3 with plot. Unsummon a creature in this lane with less power than Kamona Tong Heavy. So this is a card you can use to unsummon your opponent's cards as well, and you can easily give this card more power on the same turn that you play it with some support cards. I think you know what I'm talking about. And you can even unsummon your own creatures and play them again, but of course, as it is before, as it is the case with the cards that I have covered before this, the plot mechanic makes this card worse because it's not something you can directly activate. You have to play something before this card. So I can see this card seeing play in like market deck. You play a 0-cost creature and then you play this and unsummon that creature and play that creature again and benefit from its effects and market effects twice and stuff like that. Other than that, of course, you can use this on your enemies' creatures and unsummon them. This is not a bad card by any stretch. I can see this see play in many red decks, but it's not an amazing over-the-top card either. I mean, it's not gonna be a staple for red decks, but it is going to be a frequently used card, I think. Next we have Fetcherfly Golem, 5 cost 5/5. When Fetcherfly Golem takes damage and survives, summon a 2/2 Fetcherfly Swarm. Now, this might see play in like in decks that you use that we talked about before with maybe this card here, Fighters Guild Hall, that you damage your own creatures to gain benefits, which is the case, which may be the case with the Fetcherfly Golem. You can play like a Pyromancer on the same lane with this, and you can summon a Fetcherfly Swarm from that, and maybe even buff those creatures, make it into some kind of token deck, and even play this with Fighters Guild Hall, making it even stronger than it is. There are some possibilities. It is a Daedra, by the way, and the possibilities seem like that this card can see play in some specific decks, but other than that, I don't think this card will see play too much in too many decks. Is it a bad card? No, but it's definitely below average. That will still see play in some decks that are specifically designed to play this card, right? But I like the concept of it. I like creatures that summon creatures on some specific conditions. So next we have Servant of Dagoth, Dagoth, I don't know which one you would call. 5 cost, 4/4, summon ability. If you have a creature with 5 power or more, +2/+2 and guard. This seems really good, but I don't think it's really good at all. I mean, think about it. 5 cost 4/4 on its own, if you cannot activate it, is bad, right? And if you can activate it, 5 cost 6/6 with guard is just okay. It's not over the top. So it makes this card a bad card. I don't think this card will see many plays, but the future might prove me wrong. I don't think this card is a good card. It's below average in any case. But the metas have become more interesting than this, so this might see play, but I don't think it will. Next we have Standar's Hammer. Summon. It's a unique legendary, 5 cost summon, double the wielder's power and health. The wielder can only attack creatures, so you cannot attack your opponent. That means, if you didn't gather that information by now. So if you're playing around with Standar's Hammer, what you want to do is play this on a breakthrough creatures, possibly, or give the creature you played this on breakthrough. If your opponent just decides to not play any cards on the same lane as the creature that you equip this with, you do not get many uses out of this card. But I suppose that's what Bushwhack is for, right? You can attack creatures in other lanes with it. This plus Bushwhack on a breakthrough creature could be really, really strong. I can see it right now. It would be very interesting. I'm gonna have to make a deck about this. So what do I think about this card? It is okay, right? But as I said, we have pretty strong removals in this game, and probably the card that you play this on will be removed next turn. So it's not really that good of a card, but it can be a pretty powerful burst damage on breakthrough creatures. Will it see play? Sure, it will see play, but not very often, I think. So next we have Cliff Hunter, Prophecy, Summon, Battle an enemy creature. 6 cost 3/3. Listen to me. This card is bad. I mean, it's a battle card, but 6 cost 3/3. Are you serious with that? I like battle cards, but this is really bad, man. It doesn't even battle twice like the other 7 cost whatever. The only saving grace of this card is that this is a prophecy. This card is straight up bad other than that. So I think this card needs a buff if it is going to ever see play, other than, you know, I don't even know where you would fit this card in any deck. Even if you're playing a battle deck, you still shouldn't play this card. It is just bad. This card needs a buff, or this card will be just another forgotten card. We next have Sharp-Eyed Ashkan, and it's 6 cost 6/6. Good stats for its cost. Plot: discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. So yet again, I can see this in a market deck. It would be remarkable. Imagine playing all those 0 cost cards, then play this Sharp-Eyed Ashkan, and then you draw something like a Smuggler's Hall, and you play that, and you play all the other 0 cost cards. It would be pretty insane and pretty frustrating for your opponent. So yeah, Sharp-Eyed Ashkan, I'm definitely going to make some interesting market decks, I think, with this expansion. But Sharp-Eyed Ashkan is not bad by any stretch, but its effect being a plot effect, and it actually reduces the effectiveness of this card as usual. In aggressive decks, you can use this to get more cards when you run out of cards, but you won't be able to play the cards that you got on the same turn, likely, because this card costs 6 and you still have to play another card before this card. So it's not over the top strong, but it is a strong card, especially in market decks. Will it see play? Yeah, definitely, but not too much play, I think. So next we have Scarred Drillmaster, 6 cost 5/5 with rally effect. When Scarred Drillmaster rallies a creature, put a copy of the rallied creature into your hand with +1/+1. This is wow. I mean, imagine the power of this card with some good RNG, like copying Parthenaxes, or even just copying a, what's its name? Copying a Sovereign of Revenge would be very strong. This card is pretty insane, and I think it will see play in a lot of red decks, especially in rally decks, hypothetical rally decks that I always talk about. This card is pretty good, yeah. And I think it's the second card that copies cards in your hand, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it is. The other one being Galen the Shelterer. This card is really good. This card will see a lot of play, but I may be wrong. The future will tell, as usual. The next one, Aspect of Hircine, a 9 cost 6/6 summon, choose 1 strength +6/+6 and guard, speed gains charge. Now I have a problem with this card. This card is basically a red Tazcad with the ability to actually defend you if you need, with its, strength effect. So why is it not a unique card, right? I think this should be a unique card. I mean, yeah, sure, it doesn't summon a 4/4 body after it dies, but you don't use that effect of Tazcad the Packmaster a lot. You just use Tazcad and hit him in the face and just kill the man. Aspect of Hircine is just another Tazcad, and I think it is pretty strong to not be a unique card. I don't know. I can see this card play in a lot of control red decks, control warriors, control Dagoth decks. I don't know, but yeah, this card is really good to not be a unique card. I think we might see this become a unique card. The next and last card for the strength attribute, 10 cost action, unique action, legendary. The red year, deal 10 damage to each creature. This is a board-wide Dawn's Wrath, basically. It will probably kill any and every creature. And you know what you can use this in? You can use this in ward decks to maximum effect. Your creatures will have ward, and when you play this, your opponent will lose all of his creatures. You will still have your creatures that had wards beforehand. Will this card see play? I mean, yeah, sure. It will see play in control red decks again and stuff like that, but definitely will not see play in aggressive decks. I can tell you that much. Is it a bad card? No. Is it a good card? No. It's just an average card. It's too expensive to be good. And many games, as I said, with this meta, I think there are going to be a lot more aggressive decks, and you will not get the chance to play this card. So overall, I think that concludes the review of the strength cards for Houses of Morrowind expansion. I hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, you can check out my channel or subscribe for future videos. See you on the review of other attributes, hopefully. And take care, guys. Have a nice one. Adigeko out.